Hey everybody, it's Dr. Smith here from Accomplished Health and Wellness and Heather Fiore from Free State Nutrition. And you know what the great thing is? I just want to tell everybody this is an awesome thing. So Heather is going to be in my office with me. Yay! So if you guys don't know how to get a hold of her, but you know how to get a hold of me, you can definitely find her through here. So she will be still under Free State Nutrition, so I don't want you to think she's like changed or anything. She's still Free State Nutrition, but we're going to share an office now. So anyways, tea today. We
very cute matching mugs.
Yes, these mugs remind me of a picnic.
Yes, absolutely.
So our tea is called Celestial, and it's Country Peach Passion, and it's very peachy.
It is.
I like it,
very
actually.
Summertime, very appropriate.
So usually, whenever I do tea, I put like honey in it, and it's always local honey, so I can get like the boost, the immune boost, and then I actually put milk in it.
Oh,
so it's like tea and honey and milk. Okay. And just because like when I was growing up, I had this friend and she was all English and she was like, you only drink tea with milk. And so that's what I got used to.
Got it.
So anyways, you're the only person I drink it plain with, but I like it actually. It's a completely different taste.
It's a different experience, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So today we are going to be talking about extreme dieting. And you sent me this cool article this morning. I forgot what it was called. Do you have it written down?
I don't have it. Oh, it's
here.
There it is.
Do you have it? Okay.
Yeah, it's from Medscape, and a friend of mine, Virginia, sent it to me last week, and I was like, how timely, because we're talking about this week.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's called Extreme Diets, Fads and Fiction, or Fads and Facts. And it's like a history
of extreme dieting.
Extreme dieting.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You guys can Google it, and it's on Medscape, but and if you really want the article, actually, when we're done, we'll just put the link in, and that way you can read it, because it's just a really interesting, like, I won't look at the graham cracker the same ever again when I'm doing my s'mores, but it's just super interesting article. So anyways, we were going to talk about the extreme. Do you want to go into the history at all, or what?
Not really. I think it's just worth mentioning that there is, that this article exists, and that, just the fact that this isn't like new. Like there's always like the latest trend, right? There's always like, oh, what's new for this year? Yeah. But like this has been going on for like 100 years or longer.
Yeah, because that one was like, what was it, 18 something? 1794, people. This is when diet fads were going.
Yeah, so it's been going on forever.
Thanks to Mr. Graham.
We might have new ideas about what's like the thing to try, but the idea of like messing around with your diet in some crazy way is not new.
And I think that though the trend is the same, like they're all seem to be elimination diets.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about?
So I think maybe what's important is like going through some of the ones that are popular right now. Yeah, just like very kind of briefly, because we talked about the keto diet. We went into detail about that one. So that's obviously one of them.
Yes. Oh, and you know what? I had an article come through about the keto diet it was like another person that was a professional, not an actress or actor, but they were like trying to push the keto diet. And I was like, whoa, I already talked about this. Yeah. Not all that. I mean, it's healthy. Week. Yeah. It's healthy for certain times, but not for all times.
Yes.
But what I hear a lot about is these super low calorie diets, and they frustrate me so much because you'll hear something like 1,200 to 1,500 calories.
Or even less than 1,200.
And I don't even know how seriously, just in general, your body cannot maintain just its normal bodily function. That's what our basal metabolic rate is. That's your normal at-rest body energy requirement. And it can't maintain that below that,
Right. Yeah, I mean, like I always tell people, like 1,200 is you're not really doing anything. You're just living. You're not moving around. You're
like a vegetable. You're
not,
bed.
You're not making your bed. You're not getting up to go to the bathroom. You are just living. You're existing.
Right.
1,200. So below that,
there's nothing.
Yeah, you're basically teaching your body how to store fat.
Right, because that's what you do. You put yourself in starvation mode, right? And so when you go into starvation mode, you do nothing but store.
Right.
And it all gets stored as fat. Mm-hmm. So your 1,200 calorie diet is a fat inducing diet.
Yes, it is really no good.
So and you lose weight in the beginning, but then you don't.
Right, because your body takes a little while to figure out what's happening, and then it's like, oh,
it's like I've never eaten again.
Right, it's like goes into conservation mode. Like our bodies are designed to survive famine.
Right,
and we do that by reducing our metabolic rate, by conserving energy, by storing fat. And so, if you're trying to lose weight, that's not what you're going for.
Right. No. Yeah. So. We should stay away from that one.
Yeah. So you really, I don't encourage calorie counting, but if you're going to count calories, no less than 1,500.
Okay. You get that, people? 1,500.
Yeah.
And really, I'm with her. Why do you want to spend your time counting calories all day? That's like a big effort. Yeah. And you starve. I mean, your stomach's gonna be growling all day long at 1,500.
And there's like the mentality of it too.
And and like your brain fog that you're gonna get, it kind of goes along with that keto flu, right?
That's right. Right. So back to the low carb, like the keto, there's the paleo, right? Which is, been around a little bit longer.
Like the dinosaur diet.
It's the dinosaur diet. It's just what it sounds like, eating what our ancestors ate. So there's
some vegetables.
Right. There are no grains of any kind. There's no legumes. I mean,
once I did that, so I did the paleo diet for like a month, and I had a lot of diarrhea from all the vegetables, and I got a keto rash.
You did?
I did, on my hands and my feet, and it was so uncomfortable, and I actually didn't know, because it was a while ago that I did this, so I didn't know it was the keto rash, and it was like little red dots all over my hands, right?
Wow.
And I was like, I think I need to eat some bread. Maybe that will help. And I ate like a sandwich, and the next day it was all gone. And I was like, well, that's my body's way of telling me, don't do that.
No good. We don't like that.
Yeah. So paleo,
very restrictive.
Right.
In the, not as high fat as keto, but still, like, you can't eat legumes, you can't eat dairy, you can't eat most fruits or many fruits.
Right.
And no grains. And so
that's no fun.
Especially for people who work out really hard, which is often the people who do it. I just don't know how they function.
Yeah, because you need those carbs.
You need carbs for your workout. Right, energy.
Yeah. Well, and brain function. I mean,
we
don't all have seizures, right? So we don't need the keto paleo diet.
Right. There's intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting, yes. What is up with that?
Yeah. Well, it's
Isn't that called sleep?
You do it every day. You don't sleep and you don't eat.
And you don't eat. That's the only time you should fast.
Right. But
so in my book,
there are, so there's different like timings programs on it. So you could fast for 16 hours, and then you only get 8 hours to eat, but then you also have to sleep. So I don't really.
So 8 hours of your 16 is sleep? Maybe?
Yeah, 8 hours of your 16 is sleep. So there's,
then that's anorexia.
Right. Yeah. That's not one of the diet trends. No. So you could do that one. There's also there's like a 36-hour fast, which is obviously a lot more intense. And then you get like 12 hours where you get to eat, which is basically like what you get one day to eat. And then you've got like a whole other day and a half where you're not eating.
When I was in high school, there was a lot of really restrictive diets, I would have to say, in my high school. And so one day I was like, oh, I'm going to eat like her because she's like beautiful and perfect and everyone loves her. And so I did. And let me just tell you that I found out that person wasn't eating. And when I got home, I ate like 2 plates of taco salad. I remember it because my mom made taco salad, and I made 2 plates of taco salad. My mom was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "I haven't eaten all day." It was terrible.
I had a very similar experience.
Yeah,
where I just wolfed a whole bunch of stuff at the end of the day.
Yeah,
after like one day of not eating.
And I was done with that.
Yeah,
I could not do the 36-hour fast. Hey, Sarah, thanks for joining. So anyways, more on this.
There are other ones too. So there's like the 5-2, where like 5 days out of the week you kind of eat a pretty normal diet, and then 2 days are you eat like 500 calories
each day or total?
No, each day you get like 500.
Well,
calories.
then we're below the 1,500 calories. So
yes,
that's just off the list already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not good.
No.
Why would you do that?
Well, I mean,
what's the point of that?
People just really have a hard time. You know, they really want to lose weight, and they think they need to restrict calories because we're all about like, ooh, calories in, calories out.
Calories are terrible. Mm-hmm.
And so they can't do it every day. So they figure, well, if I could just do it for 2 days, I can survive 2 days out of the week, and then I can go back to normal eating. I guess there's some research that for some people it does work.
Yeah.
It's only certain people that this is really going to work for. And a lot of people it's not going to work for.
Right.
Right. And there isn't any like guidance about what kind of food to even eat on this thing. So obviously it's not like it's just necessarily healthy diet. It is simply about calories.
That's kind of crazy. I couldn't manage.
It's fascinating.
I mean, my fast is at night when I sleep. The rest of the time, I eat.
Right. I'll be honest, there's a couple hours there before I go to bed that I generally don't eat unless I'm really hungry.
Yeah.
I try to not eat because I don't want it to interrupt my sleep.
Sure. Yeah.
So I will do that.
Yeah. So I have heard that if you need to do like an evening snack, that if you're going to do one, you should do a carb and a fat, because the fat buffers the carb absorption and will keep your blood sugars even through the night. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I mean, protein can do it too.
But doesn't protein kind of like activate your system a little bit? So it would make you more energetic, especially like right at night?
Maybe. I guess it depends on the quantity. Like if we're just talking about
like if you threw some nuts in there.
Right, like a spoonful of peanut butter on
Yeah, that's what I do.
Piece of bread or something, right? Like
Well, I was like sweet potato and butter. But I like sweet potatoes and peanut butter actually.
You do?
I do.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Have you ever tried that?
I've never tried that.
You should try it. Good. Peanut butter is good on everything, especially chocolate.
And even sweet potatoes. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Never.
I have never tried it in my tea. I'm not one of those, but
that's like a whole other discussion of the coffee and the butter and all that, right?
We'll get there.
We should talk about that.
We so should.
Yeah.
That's on our list, I think.
It is. Yeah. So there's also the gluten-free and the dairy-free, and sometimes they come together, and sometimes
that's like super restricted.
It is. And obviously there are sometimes medical reasons to do that, right?
So is gluten-free, dairy-free like extreme vegan?
No, because you can still eat meat, and hopefully you do, because otherwise then you'd be really hungry.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, so gluten-free, dairy-free.
So you can still eat whole grains, but they're gluten-free only, which is limiting, right? Like gluten's in a lot of things.
It is.
And so if you're cutting out gluten, which you can do, and sometimes you need to for medical reasons.
Right. If you have celiac disease, you should not eat gluten.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that say they're gluten-free and they're not even gluten intolerant,
Right.
I think in general, there's a lot, and it's probably the fiber maybe that's in it. I'm not 100% sure, but there's a lot of like grains that will make you a little bit bloaty, and so I think that people will correlate bloating with gluten and say, oh, now I have to be gluten-free. But I think it actually maybe is the fiber, the type of fiber that's
if you're not used to eating fiber and then you do, then
and it's going to make it go, right? So if you're drinking enough water.
Right. And there are certain people that maybe are sensitive to like large amounts of gluten or dairy, right? Like most people who have lactose intolerance can manage some amount of dairy. It's not like they should avoid all dairy. They just like don't drink a glass of milk on an empty stomach. But, have some yogurt for sure.
Yeah.
And cheese you could probably tolerate.
Yeah.
Like, you can manage some amounts of dairy, just
Right.
don't overwhelm your body in,
Yeah. Just like
all at once
egg,
in one day.
egg allergies,
Mhm.
they can oftentimes eat cake because the egg is cooked.
Yeah, you're right.
So
right, people think, oh, I have to avoid this, or I avoided it for a day and I felt great, so now like I must be allergic to that or sensitive. And it's usually not that
way.
You don't need to be that restrictive.
I always have learned that if you think you're allergic to something, then you should actually restrict it from your diet for an entire week and then introduce it and see what happens. And if you're truly allergic, then you're going to get the gut bubbles and you're going to get the diarrhea and the flatulence and all of that. And then you would say, okay, now I'm gluten-free or whatever. But even with celiac disease and stuff like that, really the only way to diagnose this is a gut biopsy, right?
Right. You shouldn't be diagnosing yourself with these things.
Nobody wants that. I mean, you can do some blood work, but I think the true diagnosis comes from a gut biopsy. So it's just another way of eliminating.
Right. When it comes down to it, most of the time people are using that as a reason to cut stuff out of their diet.
And so it's not really healthy.
No. And I mean, truth be told,
like, if you need it.
Yeah, it's healthy in the sense that like people who have celiac eat gluten and destroy their gut lining and like really cause themselves serious illness. It doesn't mean that that's like, healthier. Like they have to work to get enough fiber. Right. Like you can't just do this diet where you cut out like these huge food groups and have a healthy, balanced diet. Like you need to really work at it. And most of the time people with celiac are working with a dietitian who specializes in that to help them figure out how to do it in the right way. You don't just want to do this on your own.
My daughter always says, Mom, that cookie over there is gluten-free. It tastes funny.
Yeah. Gluten-free cookies.
They're kind of flat. Right?
Yeah, it's really a science, right? And they're dry.
Yeah,
it's really a science to figure out.
Yeah, we have a listener, and she's saying they're dry and not the best.
You know what helps, just as a total aside, with gluten-free cooking or baking? What? Chia seeds.
Oh, because it's got the hydroponic, so it's gonna, hydrophilic.
So they hold the moisture.
So it's gonna,
make them less dry.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I don't know how to bake without flour.
You have to use a different kind of flour?
Yeah, almond flour.
Yes, but not as good.
What about this Tom Brady diet?
So, yes, isn't this interesting, right? Everybody's got a diet. And so Tom Brady now has, and who knows, I don't know how long he's been doing it, probably for quite a while. Now it's, he's trying to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
And so it starts off sounding kind of good. He's got organic produce.
Right.
He's got, grass-fed organic meat, right?
Sure.
Wild fish. And then, nuts and seeds and beans and whole grains. Okay. So all that sounds great. There's the stuff that's off the list, though, is where it gets into trouble here. So there's no gluten.
Again, we're gluten-free.
Right. There's no refined carbs or processed foods. Okay. No
no hamburger helper.
Right. Trans or saturated fats. No dairy. No nightshade vegetables.
What does that mean?
So it's like eggplants and tomatoes. I don't actually know what it means. I'll be honest with you.
Because of the acidity of it?
Yes, because he's all about alkaline. And also some people find them to be pro-inflammatory. But only certain people. But
tomatoes have lycopene in them.
I mean, there's lots, obviously they have lots of good things, good qualities. So unless you have a direct evidence that you have that problem, you shouldn't
cut it out. No. Right.
And then, he has no added sugars and no excessive salt and alcohol and caffeine.
Yeah.
So it's not all bad news. It's just that there's a lot of rules and there's a lot of limitations. And then there's some quackery going on with this alkaline.
How do you make sure you're alkaline enough?
Like you don't, right? Because we have, like with the keto, we talked
right?
about.
You gotta check your urine.
I mean,
maybe there's like Tom Brady strips out there, and you just pee on it,
yeah.
and you're like,
I mean,
I'm not going.
It's about the diet being alkaline, right? Because we know that you balance your pH no matter what you're eating. So you're not going to mess around with your actual pH, but the food that you're choosing.
They stick the strips in the food.
He's got
this one I can eat.
He's got a whole book. I'm sure
Tom
there's
Brady
a list
says
of,
I can eat it.
Eat this and don't eat that, and then you get your.
That's interesting.
It's an interesting idea, but so there's some good stuff.
Is he a nutritionist?
No.
Oh, so we probably shouldn't be following diet advice from him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he works with a nutritionist, but it's somebody who's got some
does elimination diets,
weird ideas, that are not based in evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the anti-inflammatory part is okay. It's not a bad idea. That's positive. Whole grains and less processed and all that stuff is all good. Yeah. But there's some stuff that is questionable in terms of evidence and then overly restrictive.
I always think about, he has like wild fish, right?
Oh.
And so, in my head, the jury's out on whether wild fish versus like farm fish is better or worse, because there's so much. Right, we should.
It's a whole topic.
There's so much industry out there with involving the ocean, and there's so much pollution in it. Is that so much better? And what about like, the nuclear generators that degenerated and spilled into the ocean, and
yes,
I'm pretty sure there's like five-eyed salmon out there. So I don't know that I like think about that, and I think I need what is that thing that will check the radiation in your food? That's what I need. What is that called? There's anybody out there know what that radiation wand is called? Yes, that's what I need for my fish, because I'm not sure. And then they have the farm fish, and is the farm fish better because they're feeding? Sometimes they don't feed. They feed them dye, like the salmon gets fed the dyed pellets so that it's pink, and because we have to have pink salmon. Is that better? I don't know. I mean, I am almost thinking that maybe if they had some like organic fish farm out there, but then that fish is going to be like twice the price. So.
Oh yeah, like it's already expensive.
What do you do? We'll talk about it at another date, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to, because like a whole discussion about making choices about fish and
what is that called? A tagnometer? No,
I have to find out. We need to know.
Radiation.
Well, so while you're looking that up, let's talk about clean eating, because clean eating sounds like a positive thing, and it can be, right? So you've got like whole foods, you've got less processed, you've got or no processed really, cooking at home, reading food labels and all that good stuff, and so that all makes sense and is positive. It's just that sometimes people take it too far, and it's with any of these other things. Like you've got all these rules, and then instead of just being flexible, like I'm trying to do more of this and less of that, it's like I'm only doing this and I won't touch that, and anyone who does is a bad person.
So that's not Geiger counter. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, that's it. Geiger counter. Woo, that's what I was going for. And when I was Googling it, it was calling them radiation detection instruments, and that was not helping me at all. And yes, that's what I wanted, a Geiger counter. Thank you. Yeah, so that's what I need for my seafood. Okay. So anyways, the clean eating. Right, so I try to do clean eating, and I had this discussion with a friend the other day. I was like, well, I just care that my food is clean. I don't want other stuff in it, especially like your canned foods, and like sometimes you read those ingredients list, and they're like all this stuff I can't even pronounce. And so I'm always about like whole foods, and I try not to do processed stuff, but that stuff makes it in there.
Right.
I do it.
Does.
She's chatting. She's chiming at us. But that's okay. in moderation.
That is
right?
the whole point.
Like you shouldn't cut that
flexibility.
stuff out. Yeah, flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Your food should be fun. Like you want to
Uh-huh.
eat your food, right?
It needs to taste good. You need to get some pleasure out of it. And if you cut out anything that might, be a little processed or have a little sugar in it or whatever, you're going to miss out.
Right? Don't you love her advice? I love her advice. She's like, no calorie counting. Please don't do elimination stuff. Let's just talk about healthy food.
Yes,
That's what,
healthy,
Eat
delicious food. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Common sense.
I think I agree with that. So what are the dangers of like all this restricted diet? I mean, we talked about you're just going to store fat. We talked about that. So what else?
Well,
nutrients.
Right. So you're going to miss out on nutrients if you're cutting out food groups or cutting out, big, all kinds of food. And then there's just this thing that sort of the theme here of this restrictive diets of all kinds is that for most people, some people can handle it, but for most of us, what is going to end up happening is you're going to binge at some point.
Yeah.
You're going to go off your diet and go crazy.
Yeah.
You're just going to you're just creating more disordered eating.
Right. And, I find that happens a lot on the weekends. Mm-hmm. Or if you get, we all emotionally eat. Yes. But sometimes, it's one thing to emotionally eat a scoop of ice cream, but it's another thing to eat, the whole box of donuts, right? And then that can create some just long-term eating disorders.
Yes.
Right? And that's what we don't want. We don't want people to be trying to get healthy and lose weight in an unhealthy way that's going to set them up long-term for continued disordered eating, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. And that is so many people I talk to where they hop from one diet to the next. And when they're not on one of these diets, their eating is crazy. And they have this feeling that they can't trust their bodies because they place all these restrictions on their bodies with all these diets. Right. Then your body naturally, it goes nuts when you lift the restriction. It's just like, I want to eat everything,
That's me. When I'm hangry.
Yeah. But that's the reaction to, giving yourself an inch after you've placed all these limits. So, if you don't have all these limitations on your diet and you just eat normally, your body won't do that. You really can trust your body to tell you what to eat and how much.
And we've talked about that, I think you and I, a lot about people don't trust themselves anymore. Mm-hmm. We have all these apps to tell us what we're doing is right, and we have all this other stuff. We can't listen to ourselves to tell us to stop eating or to don't eat
or
that,
to start eating,
or to start eating, or that eating that's okay, and really that's what it comes down to. You really have to listen to yourself and everything in moderation. And the elimination stuff, it's not sustainable.
It's not.
And oftentimes what I have found is that when people do those elimination diets, they will lose weight. And then once they go off because it's not sustainable, they gain it all back plus 10 or 15 pounds. And it's pretty much, and then they're like, nothing works for me. Mm-hmm. But that's because what you need to do is have a lifestyle change, right? That's what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Lifestyle change, where you're changing your diet for the rest of your life, something that's sustainable.
Right. Instead of all this,
bouncing.
Restrictive, and then you're messing up your metabolism each time too.
Right.
Like we talked about, these low, you go too low and you're
storing fat.
You store fat, your metabolism drops, and it takes a while to get that back. And I actually don't know how long it takes. I'm working on that though. I'm trying to find that out because it's a really important question, I think. Yeah. How long does it take
you to recover?
Get your metabolism to start acting normal after all this weight cycling? Mm-hmm. Stay tuned. If I find the answer, I will let you all know.
I'm sure you'll find it.
But the other thing,
Or you'll do a study on it.
I know, right? I'll make somebody set it up. Somebody who does that. But another thing about all these restrictive diets is that they each have their own rules, right? Like this one says no carbs, and this one just says no gluten, this one says no fruit, and this one says no strawberries or no this or whatever. And then after a while, it gets all muddied in your head.
Yeah, like what am I supposed to not eat? And then it's all of a sudden nothing.
And all of a sudden you just think you just have this like, oh, I'm not supposed to eat carbs, right? Carbs are bad, right? Okay, and you just don't even know why you're doing things.
Yeah.
You're just like trying to avoid carbs just because.
Yeah,
you don't know
somebody said it somewhere.
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
Yeah. I'm not gonna take my advice from Tom Brady.
No, probably not. We should take football player, right?
Yeah.
Take football advice from him, but
Yes.
maybe not nutrition.
Yes, maybe so. And I don't even know. I don't know. I don't think people around here probably even like Tom Brady. He's from the Patriots.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
So nobody around here is doing the Tom Brady diet.
No. That's good.
That's good.
Should we talk about what to talk about in the future?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got a number of topics. We've kind of hinted at a few things here and there, but
yes.
what do you think?
We keep doing this diet trend. Should we keep on the diet trend? And
we could do intuitive eating.
Yeah,
because that was sort of a little. We had a little.
We could
touch of that.
Let's do intuitive eating, and then maybe after that we could do like your recommended diets. Right? Does that sound good, everybody?
Yeah.
Remember, guys, if you have a topic that you would like us to talk about, that's nutrition related, then just drop us a line somewhere. You can put it at the end of one of our videos. We're always checking those when people make comments. Or you can email us. My email is accomplishedhealth@gmail.com. What's your email?
It's heatherfiorerd.com.
There you go. That's not your email.
At Gmail.
Gmail. Gmail.
Everybody's Gmail, right?
Right. So you guys can always email us or just shoot us a line, Facebook us, and so next time we are going to talk about intuitive eating, listening to your bodies, because they do actually have sound advice in there somewheres, so you don't want to lose it. And then I guess thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we will see you guys in a week. Have a great day. Bye-bye.